Hi, everyone, and welcome to amplifyU, the podcast dedicated to connecting the dots between industry best practices and resources you can bring back to your agency today. I'm your host, Caitlin Agar, Head of Learning and Development for Indium, and one of the many content contributors working to bring the future of professional development to the insurance industry. At amplifyU, we believe in the power of collaboration and the strength of collective intelligence. That's why we crowdsource our content, tapping into the experiences and insights of insurance agency owners like you, and why we created this platform to amplify the voices of thought leaders who are shaping the future of the insurance landscape. Join us as we unlock the strategies to help you build the team and lifestyle you want. This podcast is your gateway to discovering new opportunities and thinking independently together. Welcome to amplifyU, where training will get you where trying can't. Let's dive in. Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. I'm super pumped because today I get to interview the one and only Daniel Seong from sunny Irvine. Hi, Daniel. Thanks for joining us.
Kaylin, it is truly an honor. I'm spending so much more time with you lately. I absolutely love it. It's a real treat.
It's been fantastic, and thank you for collaborating with us on this really neat series that we're putting out through amplifyU. By the time you guys hear this episode, there will be some buzz around how you can access Daniel's course and the content, but we wanted to bring you ideas from real agents that are in your shoes about how they've strengthened their digital presence online, how they've created a unique brand identity, what that looks like for their team culture, and I mean, who better to talk about that than Daniel Seong? So thank you for joining us on that. It's a fun one.
Well, I'm excited about the topics, and I'm excited. I'm excited for you to do this because we need more people talking about this. And I know there's a lot of brilliant business minds out there who can talk about renewals, who can talk about prospecting and everything else, but that's one half of an agency owner's life, right? There's the other half, which is a little bit more of a human touch. So I really do try to, focus on that as well, just like everybody else.
Well, that's what we love about insurance is that opportunity to make a huge impact with your team. You have a team of at least 13 now, if I'm remembering correctly, a huge team. And then all of the clients that you're reaching through, this business that you're writing and in the Great Park community and how that's made such a big difference right where you are. And then because you're so vocal on social media, you've spread some really positive messages out far beyond the walls of your agency in just Great Park, California, and have built a strong personal brand. We get to see a little bit about your amazing family and how you and Christina work together to create such a, fun family for your kids to grow up in. And so it's been really neat to see, to not just hear about your agency, but be able to see a little bit more about it because you do have such a strong presence on TikTok and Facebook and in your podcast channel.
Yeah, and what's funny, Caitlin, is everything that we really try to plan, a lot of the times it just seems like it never works out. And I think that's just so aligned with just creating content. We will spend hours and hours trying to brainstorm and try to, create the perfect piece of content or what we think is great. And sometimes just picking up that phone, hitting record, and just making the ums and the ahs and all the mistakes is what people want. And we've noticed a lot of those videos, a lot of those posts get a lot more eyes on it than something that we spend hours polishing up. And one of the things that we just recently started, and I'm receiving a lot of good feedback, is it's not a tremendous amount of work, but we do the Daniel's Daily 101. And what that is Yesenia will come into the office and she'll knock on my door and just ask me just a real simple question sitting at my desk. One of the questions might be, Daniel, why did you start your agency? Or what's going on this weekend with the kids? Why do you do this? Why do you do that? And they're just so simple questions. And I give people a little bit of an insight on some of the things that we do, but people love it. And I'm getting so much good feedback about, but also, right, it's also, the camera angle is the angle is behind my camera, and she's looking at the camera view looking at me. So it's just so many different things that you can do with content, and that's really what makes it fun. But keeping it simple and keeping it repeatable is key, I think. And to make that video, I mean, I don't know the questions beforehand, nor does it take a whole lot of time to edit it. So from start to finish, that video might take 4 minutes.
They're so cool. And she recently asked you, why did you have 5 kids?
Yeah,
We'd
she
love to
did.
hear more about that.
Yeah, and see, so it's something so personal like that, where a lot of times we try to keep it stuffy and we try to give advice, but it's such a personal question to us. And, I have two older sisters, one younger brother, and she has two older brothers. But we always wanted a big family, and we wanted a big family from the very beginning. So and five was that number. And in fact, with Nathan and with my son, the youngest, we wanted twins. So we really wanted 6 kids. But something like that is just so light and so fun. But what it does is it gives the audience a true insight into who we are and our personal lives. And I think that's what really captures people. They can go on LinkedIn, they can go on Facebook, and they see all the outside layers, I want to say, but it's they really want to know Caitlin. They really want to know Justin and the kids and what you guys do on the weekends or what that Saturday morning looks like, right? And it's probably hectic, it's probably messy, but that's what people can relate to, and that's what they want to. That's what interests people.
Definitely messy. Try to keep it as not hectic as possible on Saturday mornings. Definitely messy though.
Yeah,
And we've had a chance to talk a few times before, Daniel. So, having known you a little bit, I know that you, as you were building your agency and growing your family, you didn't set out to have 1.4 million followers on TikTok and to have this strong personal brand. How did that happen? How did you stumble into having the audience that you now have from a personal perspective? Because
yeah,
you
great.
weren't really looking for the spotlight, you weren't seeking it out, it just you
Yeah,
just
no, you're absolutely right. And again, things just happen by accident. It was maybe 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, my daughter, it was December, and she buys me for Christmas, my third daughter, Leah, she buys me a Christmas present. It's a daddy joke book, 365 jokes for the year, one a day. I said, you know what, this whole TikTok thing, I bet daddy could make a TikTok channel and get followers. And of course, all my teenage girls are laughing at me because there's an influencer at their school who has 30,000 followers. And they're just, that's magical to have 30,000. So I said, well, let me just do it. So I read a joke and I do this belly laugh. And the first week we got 10,000 and they were all shocked. Say, why would anybody follow my dad? He's dorky. He's my dad. There's nothing special about my dad. The second week we got 50, and then we got to 100, and in 6 months we got to 1 million, and then after that we got to 1.4 and everything else. And it kind of evolved into something more, a little bit more of a family channel, and where Christina's involved, and there's some videos of the kids. But even with that, we just kind of fell into it, and we just started it, not thinking that anything was gonna hit. And then I started getting really interested, where I would post 3 to 5 videos a day. Now that's a lot. It really does take mental power to think about content and think about, it really does take a few hours a day. But we did it to ramp it up, right? But that's also in business or in life, right? In a marriage, you have to ramp it up. There's a ramp up period where you're getting to know each other and investing time in each other, even for a business. The first 5 years is hell, right? But after that, it becomes a lot easier. So that was the same concept, and we stuck it through. Um, and then and then it just kind of evolved into what it is now. But we get so many people who reach out to us, Caitlin. It's really incredible to know that people would look at me almost as a second dad or almost a dad, because I get so many messages where people say, you know what, Daniel, my dad was really abusive. He was an alcoholic. He was never around. But watching you, and I never wanted to be a parent, they said. I never wanted to get married. But watching you and your family just have so much fun, and you just being with them all the time really makes me want to have a family. So here's a guy that doesn't know me at all, never talked to me, and he had this personal traumatic experience growing up. And it wasn't just for a day, it was his childhood growing up. And to think that he can watch a 60-second video of me and be completely flipped. It is so, I get chills thinking about it. But I've talked to people who messaged me saying that there was this one gal. I don't know if I told you about this, Galen, but there was this one gal. She messaged me on TikTok and she said, Daniel, I'm 18 years old. I moved out to Vegas. I'm sitting in the car right now with being pregnant, and her belly's out to the steering wheel. And I moved out here because of my boyfriend, and now he doesn't want anything to do with me. And I have this baby coming. I don't know what to do. So I messaged her right away. I said, "What's your phone number?" And she replied, and I called her while she was still sitting in her
Oh,
car.
wow.
And I talked to her for maybe 5 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. And I said, and I gave her some words of encouragement. I said, "You continue on. It's not about your boyfriend. It's about you and your child now. You have somebody's counting on you. Somebody loves you, right? You're somebody's world." And 6 months later, she reached out. Never heard from her again. 6 months later, she reached out and says, Daniel, I got a job. The baby's here. We're doing great. Now, I know it's
Oh,
hard having a 3-month-old, right? But she said things are great. So maybe, I always said there's going to be that one person, and we all have this moment, that one person that says that one thing at that one moment in your life that changes everything for you. And what if I was that one person for her and her child? So things like that really just get me excited. And that's the whole reason why, we took it to another level. And Christine and I, we just started our Sung Life podcast. And we're getting so much positive feedback from people who just listen to it, from our friends and family members. And one of the things is we are super vulnerable. One thing that I really recognize is, especially guys, when us macho guys get together for the first time meeting people, or when we're in a networking event, I notice we flex, right? We're always trying to give our best, present our best, and we always want to talk about all the achievements that we're doing. One of the things that I really focus on is just having walls down and sharing a lot of my failures. And then at first, when we talk about it, they start kind of tilting their head and they look at me like I'm a little weird. And then you just see this wall going down. And now they start talking to you, not talking at you. And it's really neat because 100%, you know, we I share my failures because we can all relate to them.
Mhm.
Because we have all failed, but not all of us have success to the same level or to the same degree. But I've always realized that we can all relate to our failures, and we have some major failures, Christina and I. And but yeah, that's I noticed that.
I love that you're using the platform to share. And for that girl that was about to become a mom in Vegas, hearing your perspective as a dad, even though it was only for 5 minutes, may have been a light bulb moment to think, oh, to this baby, I'm going to be their whole world. And so that's something that only a parent can share. And
Yeah.
I love that you and Christina are using your platform to talk about, family life and just getting real. I don't know. Would Christina describe herself as an extrovert? What does she think of all of this traction, and does she see it as a memory making
Oh my God.
adventure? What's it like from her perspective?
Well, a great point there, and because I really did start this TikTok journey um, because I wanted everlasting memories for the kids of Daddy. That was really the first reason we started. Because Christina's older brother, who was about 47, passed away, leaving 3 kids behind and a wife. And that was right at that time. And we, I wanted just the kids just to have memories of Daddy. And then, it kind of evolved. But Christina is not an extrovert. Oh my gosh. Even the TikTok videos, the 60-second TikTok videos in the very beginning was very painful for her. And the podcast idea came up a year ago. Uh, but 6 months ago, it seemed like it was killed. Like she was incredibly nervous to think that she can sit down on a mic and talk for 30, 40 minutes, and we really just didn't think anything of it. And then our good friend Scott Howell, who I absolutely love and consider one of my best friends, he said, Daniel, what the hell are you doing? You guys need to get out there because people are counting on you and people want to hear from you and you're going to impact so many lives. And I said, wait a second. And Christina just happened to be in the office that day. I said, wait a second. So I pulled Christina onto Zoom and he talked to her. And that day we both made a commitment to say, you know what, you're right. And we did it. So now we have we dropped 3 episodes. A fourth one dropped yesterday, and we're just having such a good time. But she is not an extrovert at all, and she's shaking, when we're recording the podcast. But for the first 5 minutes, it's a little nerve wracking, and then you kind of get into a rhythm. So even with that, right, you just do it. Throw yourself out there and just do it. With the marketing, with the growing of the agency, training, sales, you just got to put yourself out there because so much more, if you stick with it, so much more good comes from than the bad. So much good comes from more so than the bad.
Wow, that just says so much about Christina's character, that she wanted to have a positive impact badly enough to push through the discomfort of putting yourself out there, which really is kind of awkward for a lot of people. And I always tell my kids it's the person who's scared the most that is the bravest. So when you're really not wanting to do something and you do it anyway, and you have that courage even when you don't have the comfort or the confidence, that's really the person that's the bravest. So I love that she's doing that. And so if you guys haven't had a chance to check out the Song Life podcast yet, make sure that you're adding that to your playlist for when you're driving into the office. And then you recently started an insurance industry podcast with Ryan Reynolds, and it's called the Insurance Leaders Podcast. What prompted you to start that podcast then with that topic?
Yeah, well, one of the things that we saw in the industry was there wasn't a true leadership podcast. And we're very specific on who we bring on, but also some of the questions that we ask. And leadership is so I think the right word is encompassing. Leadership applies to every single part of our lives. And you do not have to be a business owner to be a leader. You do not have to be a basketball coach to be a leader. I feel that every mom and dad's a leader. Because when you go home, you're leading your spouse, you're leading your kids, you're leading your church group members, you're leading your friends. There's people that look to you, and if you're influential in any way, and we all are, you're a leader. So not only insurance, but you're a leader everywhere. So, but there wasn't a podcast that we felt that was targeting that topic. So Ryan and I mean, he is such a he is such a successful entrepreneur, agency owner. He's such a great friend. We came together and said, you know what, we need to do this. So and it's been since December where we've uploaded our first episode, but we've gotten so much good feedback. We have gotten so many positive reviews where when we go to events, people are coming up to us and saying, "Man, you guys are doing a great job. I wait for Thursdays because I want to listen to the new episode." And that is more rewarding than anything else to think that we are affecting people's lives. I mean, I got an email yesterday about a podcaster or an agency owner out in LA who's going to come visit me next week because he listens to the podcast and he just wants to sit down with me for 30 minutes. How impactful is that? Amazing. So it's really fun.
That's amazing. And it's kicking off with so much traction. And you talk about how there was a point in time in your agency life where your role was really to be the main person producing and to sell, and to get those clients on the books and get those 5-star reviews in the door. So what were some of the leadership skills that you had to grow or develop as your team started growing? Because you may have started as a one-man shop, but it didn't stay there forever. You then had to bring on employees and then start growing them, and then more and more employees. What leadership skills did you see you had to start tapping into that aren't at the forefront when you're the main producer in the agency?
Yeah, great question. Trust. One of them is trust. Not only trusting the process, but trusting the teammates and letting them know that they have total control because I trust them. And that is so impactful when your team members know that the leader will back them in anything that they do. Now, of course, they have to operate within the lines. But trust But also, like I thought I did it best because I'm like you, Caitlin. And once I know what to do, I'm a machine, and I will get it done. And for many years, I think I was, and it was mainly personal lines at that time. So I grew the book with personal lines. The book size was about 2.5. Uh, I was averaging 55,000 new business premium every single month that year. And so this is the year when I decided to build a team. So again, book size was 2.5. I was servicing everything on my own. I was writing about $55,000 a month. And I had that other full-time job. So,
Wow.
but once I started building a team, it happens a lot faster than people think. You bring on one person, you train them really well. You bring on the second person, you train them really well. So I I just got really good at filtering through the BS. And I hire very slowly, but also we've all heard this, we fire very fast. My quickest fire was not 8:30 they started. My quickest fire was 11 a.m. And they were licensed, they were experienced, but I just knew that it wasn't a good fit. And this is how silly I am. And I sat back watching them, and I thought, okay. And when I was thinking to myself, okay, what are some great things about this person? And the only thing I could think of was that they were licensed. That's the only thing that I can think that was good about this person, is that they were licensed. So that was completely a mistake. And I realized that, but I took action right away. But I think trust is huge. Trust is huge. And once you trust your team, um, things start to fall in place.
Absolutely. And you have such a great team. When you visit the office, everyone feels really welcome and like you just sense that the team wants to be there. Um, did you always have the kind of insurance network that you have today?
Oh, I love this topic. I love this question. The short answer is absolutely not. For the first 7 years, I didn't network at all. And I couldn't network. I couldn't fly out to Virginia or New York and, attend these events and things because number one, I was a one-man shop. I was building the business. I had a service. There's no way. Now, if I could go back, I would figure out a way to do it because it has been that important in my career. But for the first 7 years, I did not. I attended one event in the first 7 years, and I didn't make any connections within that event. Uh, Once I started poking my head up, and I could only poke my head up because I had a team at that point. I invested in the team, which allowed me to be a little bit more flexible. Once I started going to events, but not only going to events, staying late at events. If the event ends on Wednesday, I didn't go home or fly out until Thursday. If the event started on Monday, I flew in on Sunday. Because what happens? There's dinner the night before, and there's dinner at the last day. That's where you make the connections with people. So all the little things. I made sure that I went to every coffee meeting that I was invited to. I made sure that I went to every lunch or dinner that I was invited to. In the very beginning, never say no. You never know who you're going to meet. One of those people have been Chris Paradiso in my life. Chris is, I mean, he's everything to everyone. I realize that, but he truly does have a special place in my heart. And he was one of the people that was very impactful in my career and in my life. I talk to Chris almost on a daily basis. I travel with Chris. Our families go on vacation. It's just we've become so close. But the mentorship, the friendship, but you just learn so much from others that are doing it a different way. Um, yeah, I can't talk enough about relationships because not only do they open doors for you to other things, um, surrounding yourself with just more successful people never hurts. It never hurts your career.
So true. And Chris is partnering with amplifyU on the branding series as well, just sharing about how his agency created a brand guide and how that influences their client journey. And I love that there are so many agents in the industry that are willing to share and pay it forward. Why do you think the people like Chris Paradiso and yourself are so willing to collaborate and to mentor and share with other people in the
You know,
industry?
yeah, I have friends. I have friends in other businesses or in the other industries, and they're shocked at how much we collaborate
Mm-hmm.
within the industry. And there is so much to go around. Um, but also, I think we all have a goal and a passion to make the industry better than when we found it, or to leave it better than we found it. There is so much more work to do in this industry. As good and as great as it is, there are so much to do. Um, but it was really interesting because I have 5 kids, but I don't know if any of them are going to come into the business. And if they don't, I'm perfectly okay with it. Nathan, being 8 years old, just passing by, or my brother, his uncle, asked him, Nathan, what do you want to do when you grow up? And Nathan said, I want to go work with daddy. So that just made it even more personal that I need to get my act together within the agency. But also, all my decisions from now on, I'm going to ask myself, how is this helping Nathan and his friends in the industry and then for the next generation? So, and he probably just said it passing by. And if you ask him today, he's probably going to say, I want to be a police officer, right? But it just impacted me so much that that's maybe a possibility. But it's really just giving back because I know what it's like to have to sell that policy to feed your family, right? And you don't get paid your commission until at least 30 days. So you have to kind of figure out what you're going to do within the next 4 weeks. Uh, so if I could just bridge that gap a little bit, if I could just make that gap a little bit smaller for that next dad who's trying to support his family, uh, I want to do it. I want to do it because not only are you impacting him and his family, you're impacting his teammates' families that he'll be eventually hiring, and then you're probably sending the team's kids to college, and then their life goes a different path. So it's truly a way of just giving back, and because the industry has given us so much, I, I I I pinch myself every single day, Caitlin, that I am in an industry that I love. I work with a team that I love. I come into the office motivated, dedicated, excited every single day. And now, have I had some bad days in my career? I probably have, but I can't remember them because there's so much good that overrides that. Um, I love you. I love the industry. I love everything about it. And anytime that we can give back, I mean, we do.
It's full of opportunity, and like you said, like we've been able to benefit from all of the opportunity in the insurance industry, and yet there's still so much work to do to definitely keep us motivated and dedicated and ready to tackle every day. And so I just love that you have that enthusiasm, because there's a lot of people who have jobs that they go to every day that feel like a job and not don't feel like a lifestyle or a career or
Right.
a purpose. And being able to find that, I think, could be life changing for so many people. And I do love that the insurance community is so tight and so collaborative. And I know you've been doing some work on that front with some other influencers in the space. So, what's this idea behind the big industry, small community message?
Oh, yeah. So it's funny because I just got pulled into it. So Scott and Bradley were recording their Insurance Leaders podcast, and they had Ciara as a guest. And somehow, some way, they started talking about how all these captive companies just are really pushing their brand out, and they're localizing it to the agent down the road. And we thought, you know what? Or Scott and they were saying, we don't have that. We're such a big industry, and the independent agent is a leader in the industry, but we don't come together and we don't have that message out enough. So while they were recording the podcast, Scott called me. I couldn't pick up, but afterwards I called, and Scott tells me, Daniel, this is what we're doing, and you're going to be the face of this. You're going to be the national face of this project. I said, and anytime Scott tells me to do something, I say, okay. So we got together, we brainstormed, and we came up with big industry, small community. And the whole message is that, hey, we're not these national companies who have this national budget of making a commercial during the Super Bowl or on a national radio show or any of that stuff. Okay, so you're not going to find us there, but you will find us in your grocery stores. You will probably sit next to us at church during service. You will see us at the baseball games, the Little League baseball games, and you're going to probably see us just in your community. And we're going to push that message because it is insurance is such a huge part of everyday life. And people who are not insured properly should be. People who are not working with a local agency should be, because there's value in being able to walk into an office, sitting down with a person who has the same accent as you do, right? And there's just so value in that connection because, again, it's another way for the consumer to give back to their community. But that's the overall message that we don't have a big budget, but again, we are more powerful together.
And it's a message that we don't hear on the radio or see on TV yet. And so I think it'll be exciting to start spreading this message. How can agents start to get involved? I know that there are a couple things in the works. Should we stay tuned? What are some of the first things that we can do to start being a part?
Yeah, well, the first thing is you can go to the big industry, small community website and just kind of sign up for or just future events or future news. We are going to have swag available, hoodies, t-shirts, mugs, tumblers. We're going to have a lot of things available. But one of the things that we're doing is we're noticing that a lot of agencies don't put time into marketing, creating content, creating videos. So that's actually another leg of the project, is that we are going to be creating high value, high quality videos where we're going to, at the local agent in Indianapolis, they're going to be able to, it's going to be open source. So they're going to be able to put in their video, their pictures, and it's going to be really personalized to them and their local community. But we're going to create the video so that they can do that. And it's going to be a really fun thing to watch.
Oh, that's fantastic. I can't wait to see more about that campaign because it's a message that we're so passionate about and will make such a big difference in communities. So thanks for sharing, and be sure to check out the Big Industry Small Community website and grab some swag now that that's available. And Daniel, you've partnered with us to create a course on how you created a 5-star agency. You have an amazing presence on Yelp with over 700 5-star reviews, an amazing presence on Google with over 500 5-star reviews. And you shared with us how you did that and why social proof is so powerful in the life of an agency, because it's not what we say about ourselves, it's what they say about us. So thank you for partnering with us. And for those of you who are listening, make sure that you log into amplifyU and access that course so that you can learn as much as possible about the Great Park Insurance Agency and the things that they're doing to try to make a difference, to stand out and build that team culture that makes not just Daniel, but the people around him want to come to the office every day with motivation and dedication.
Yeah,
Thank you,
and
Daniel.
no problem. And I really do want to encourage people to check that out because going back, when I started the agency, when I got into the insurance industry, I didn't know a single soul. I was on welfare, on food stamps, working 3 jobs, wife that doesn't work. We had our 4th daughter. Everything was against us. And it would be silly if my son told me that with all that, he's going to go into the insurance business, I would be freaked out. It was a silly decision, but it worked. And through the course, I share everything that I did to make it work. I never marketed, didn't have a budget to buy leads, but we made it work. So I can't wait for people to check that out because I share everything.
We can't wait. So thank you for launching that with us and for joining us today so that we could hear a little bit more about Seong life, and hope you have a fantastic week at Great Park Insurance. Thanks for joining us, Daniel.
Kaylin, you're the best. This was a lot of fun. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I'm honored. Thank you for joining us for this episode where we give you a taste of what the amplifyU program has in store for you. It's more than just a podcast. It's a comprehensive suite of resources designed to ignite your growth and success in the insurance industry. Get ready to explore our dynamic online learning management system, where you'll find a wealth of valuable courses and modules tailored specifically for insurance agency owners and their teams. We'll also highlight our calendar of virtual training workshops where featured guest experts share their expertise and provide actionable insights. And for those seeking an immersive learning experience, we'll discuss our exciting training boot camps designed to accelerate your progress and build community. The amplifyU program is your one-stop destination for future-forward education and resources, and we can't wait to share it with you.